Welcome to Shom Machshava on the Daf your sponsor Nishba Sam Yaakov Shalom Le'Abbas Yitzchok. We're holding Basra Daf Kuf Samach Gimel. The Gemara brings in Amud Aleph that if there is space between the Eidim and the Hashrosa and the Dayanim, it's not a problem because they're metayetle, which means we'll put ink in that space and therefore we'll fill in the gap. Now, how does the word the metayetle mean to put ink? So the simple understanding is like as the brought down in the side over here in the Gemara, that the Aruch says that really the word should be the medayetli with a dalet. Lashon diyoy. The medayetli lashon diyoy. But the Gemara writes it with a tes. So in Shuvas and Piskei Maharita Chadoshers, he brings a raya from this Gemara that sometimes Dalet and Teis will change, will switch around. And with that he comes to say that there's a city that was called Constantine that came a get that they wrote the Constantine with the letter Tes in the end. He says, but we usually write it with the letter Dalet. He said, that's fine. And the reason it's fine is because bein Dalet letet loy mikre shinui. Dalet take a change. Hoilu mimoitzo echodem. They all come from the same place. He also adds that because the word is not in Lashon HaKodesh, it's in Lashon Laz, so we don't really care so much how the letter is written. But the first point that he's referring to, what does he mean that Dal and Ted come from the same place? This is something which is brought down in Sefer Yetzirah Perek Beis Mishnah Gimel and quoted in Sefer HaZohar and Chelek Gimel Daf Kuf Kov Ches Amud Aleph. There is Chamisha Moitzo Esapeh. There's 5 sources of letters coming from the mouth. The letters Aleph, Ches, Hey, and Ein come from the Goron, from the throat. The letters Gimel, Yud, Kof, and Kuf, Gikak, they come from the Cheich, which is the area where the palate is. Datlanat, Dalet, Tes, Lamed, Nun, and Tov, they come from the Losher, from the tongue. Zas Rashatz comes by Shinaim, that's the letters come from the teeth. And Bumaf, Beis, Vov, Mempei, Besfasayim comes from the lips. Meaning there's different groups of letters that come from different areas of the mouth. And it's brought down already in the Rishonim. Rabbi Chanal says, Rabbi Bechaya brings it in Chumash, that when Moshe Rabbeinu said that he's kvad peh v'kvad loshon, because Moshe wasn't able to speak clearly the letters Zayin, Shin, Reish, Zayin, Tzadik, Zas, Ratzatz, which is Oishes Shinaim, that's called kvad peh, and he was not able to say the letters Datlanat, which is the letters of the tongue, and that's why he said kvat peh v'kvad loshon. These sources of letters he didn't say clearly. Another 2 examples what we find is that the Megala Amukah says that the word Gedusha is the letters Gedusha come from the 5 Moitzoros HaPeh, meaning each one of the letters comes from a different source of Dibur. The Kuf comes from the source of Cheich, the Dal from the Loshon, the Vav from Sfasayim, the Shin from Shinaim, and the Hey from the Goren. And one last example from the Akedah Yitzchok on this week's Parsha, Parshat Vayetze, that says that when Leah calls her son Zvulun, she says, Zevadani Elokim Zeved Toiv. But Zeved is with a Dalet, and Zvulun is with a Lamed. So he says it's not right, it's not proper to say Zevel. Zevel sounds like garbage. So therefore she switched the word Zevel to Zeved, Lamed to Dalet. Why? Because Datlanat, these 5 letters are interchangeable. And this is the Yesod that we're coming back to the Maharit. When every one of the sources of these letters, when a letter comes from the same source, it can be exchanged for another letter from the same source. So if Datlanat comes from the Lashon, the letters Dalet, Tes, Lamed, Nun, and Tov can be interchangeable. And this is what the Maharit says by us, that the Gemara says, Metayet really means medayet, but Dal and Tes can be changed because they come from the same source of Datlanat. And the Mekubalim were very busy with these sources of Moitzoros HaPeh. Anyone who wants to join the Shom Machshava email list, so what's a good place? Email shomachshava@gmail.com.